Lesson
83 is pretty long.
82 is more applications of trigonometry. I'm just going to write trig instead of trigonometry. So if you need to find the measure of the angles, you can use the cos inverse, sine inverse, or tangent inverse. So remember that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So if you know that fraction but you don't know the angle, you can just use the sine inverse of that fraction and it will give you the angle measure. So in your calculator you have to make sure the mode is in degrees. And then if you're missing the measures of the angles, you're going to use the inverse. So let me give an example. Here's a right triangle. And the angle theta. So if I want to find theta, I can use sine inverse of the opposite over the hypotenuse. Sine inverse of A over C. Or to find theta, I could use the cos inverse of the adjacent over the hypotenuse, or B over C. Or theta is tangent inverse of opposite over adjacent, or A over B. So this -1 does not mean the same thing as a -1 exponent on a number or on a variable. This means you're like going backwards. You're working backwards from tangent to find the angle measure. So usually we do tangent theta equals A over B.
Is theta the zero thing?
Theta is the angle measure. We usually call the angle that's missing theta.
Is that like the name of the angle you're trying to get?
Yes.
And is there like a button on the calculator for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you, okay, so let me give you an example using a right triangle. Okay, so here's my right triangle. Okay, so if you want to find the theta, you have the opposite and the hypotenuse. So if you remember your trig function, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Is that
Yeah, so instead of like finding the side lengths, we find the measures.
Yes, we're finding angle measures. So if we did sine inverse of 12/15, we would get what theta is. You mean, yeah, 4/5. So on the calculator, you want to do sine inverse, which is second sine of 4 divided by 5, and it doesn't matter if you reduce or not. 12/15 give you the same answer. Enter. It's approximately 53 degrees, and my mode is in degrees, so 53 degrees. So we use that inverse to find the missing angle measure. So one more. Here's a right angle theta. This one is 15 and that one's 37. So we can't use sine because we don't have opposite, we have adjacent. Cosine. So theta is going to equal cosine inverse of 15 divided by 37. So then we just do cos inverse 15 divided by 37. Approximately 66 degrees. And that's the end of the lesson.